Let's go. I always start with this music, seriously. A cool breeze of night air brushed against my cheeks, and I gazed towards stars twinkling in the clear sky. Tonight, it seemed, was the final farewell between Hijikata-san and Okita. This was a moment I needed to let them have on their own. Being an outside observer to the intimacy of their conversation told me this much at least. My heart ached for them. Everyone left Edo for Kyoto only 4 years ago, tightly holding on to their hopes for the future. Huh? Wait! You! Wait! Yo! I know who this is! I did not expect this! What? Okay. In the middle of my contemplation, I thought I'd noticed Soma speaking to someone in the distance. Oh, this makes more sense now! This makes sense! Okay. He said he was planning to meet a friend in Edo, but... could this be the person whom he was talking about?
なあ、本当にいいのか？お前、副長とは知らない仲じゃないんだろう。せっかくだから挨拶ぐらいした方がいいんじゃないか。
いや、やめとく。
どうしてだ？俺たちもう江戸には戻ってこられないかもしれないんだぞ。
近藤さんは新政府軍に捕まっちまったんだろう。そんな状況で土方さんにどんな言葉をかけたらいいかわからないしな。
Soma's head was suddenly hung low, as the words from his conversant seemed to resonate painfully.
言葉じゃなくてもいいだろう。
え？
お前の思いを、見てきたものを皆に伝えることができれば、それでいいじゃないか。
相馬。
For a short while, Soma's acquaintance looked unsettled by the suggestion, staring at the ground uncomfortably. However, he exhaled deeply before speaking.
俺は新選組の大使だったわけじゃない。新選組ができた時、たまたまその場に居合わせただけだ。
じゃあお前があの絵、羅刹になった芹沢さんの姿を描いたのはどうしてなんだ
？Kamo Serizawa, chief of the Roshigumi who introduced the Water of Life to the group when they later became the Shinsengumi. He was assassinated by Hijikata for his unruly behavior upon the Aizu's command.
もう関係ない人たちだと思ってたら、金にもならないのに、あんな絵なんて描かないだろ
う。それは。
お前は、今の土方さんや三男さん、東堂さんたちに伝えたいことは、本当に何もないのか？
I heard him mention names of our warriors. Does this mean that this man was a friend of the Shinsengumi? Perhaps Soma was planning to meet him with the intention of bringing him over to our side? Whatever the case, Soma's acquaintance gave the impression that he was reluctant to be involved at all. I mean, I'm sure Soma knows what he's doing. So for now, perhaps it was best that this was something I didn't need to bring to Hijikata-san. As I began to process this information. Okay. After hearing Hijikata-san's instructions, I walked back to the house from the darkness. This is gonna hurt. after Okita and I exchanged a few words.
それじゃな、ソジ。あんまり松本先生を困らせるんじゃねえぞ。
I thought they were gonna make me go through the pain, but this is still painful.
困らせたりはしてませんよ。あの先生が心配性なだけです。
相変わらず口が減らねえやつだ。まあいい。俺たちはそろそろ行くからな。
あれ？もう帰っちゃうんですか？
Oyasumi, Okita. Please take care of yourself. I couldn't take it anymore. I rushed to say that to leave.
千鶴ちゃん、ちょっと。
Never mind, we're gonna have pain. He beckoned me with a gentle gesture, so I walked up to him. Is something wrong?
土方さん、顔色悪いね。あんまり状況が良くないのかな。
No. If I spoke carelessly, I could possibly have given up too much information. Information that could easily hurt Okita, so I fell silent.
僕、あの人のことは全然好きじゃないし、はっきり言ってどうなってもいいけど、土方さんのそばにいてあげて。あの人が倒れたら、新選組は立ち行かなくなるから。
I understand.
話は終わったか。そんじゃ行くぞ。
Hijikata-san peered in, and I bowed to Okita before walking. Bye, Okita. Hijikata-san didn't ask a thing about what Okita and I talked about, and he began walking briskly ahead of me. Watching Hijikata-san made that promise to Okita a little earlier. The promise that he'd bring Kondo-san next time. It seemed as though the burden of that promise, and the potential it'd be unfulfilled, weighed heavily on him. Suddenly, Hijikata-san halted in his tracks.
雪村、お前は先に江戸を出ろ。
What do you mean? What do you plan on doing, Hijikata-san?
近藤さんを助けてもらえるよう、もう一度幕府に直談判してくる。
You're going now? I thought we did everything that we could already.
結果が出てねえ以上、十分とは言えねえよ。
But it's not safe for you to be in Edo for longer than you need to. The Imperial Army has been after us. They could turn up at any moment. If you get arrested, just like Kondo-san was, then... Yesterday, Hijikata-san seemed caught up in his dejection. So much so that such a proposal was beyond expectation. Why? Why would he be acting like this all of a sudden?
お前は俺の判断が間違ってるって言いてえのか。
Well, I'm not saying that.
じゃあなんだっつんだ。文句があるならはっきり言え。
Hijikata's veins were beginning to show in his face. I told him, "Stay strong" is the correct one, yep. Please, Hijikata-san, I beg you, stay strong. You of all people should know what needs to be done at that moment. I was surprised to hear myself raise my voice towards him.
何をするかは俺が決めることだ。お前が口を挟むことじゃねえ。
I understand, but what are you going to do if you're arrested by the Imperial Army?
だったら何だってんだ。可能性の話なんてしてたら何もできねえで終わっちまうぞ。
So you're going to let Inoue and Yamazaki's sacrifices go in vain?
に何がわかる。
Hijikata-san exploded, and even though it frightened me, I had to give my piece. Even I understand a little! I refused to let my convictions amount to nothing. My heart felt so heavy. It was even painful to speak. Tears began to well up in my eyes. I couldn't help it. I was there. I saw what Inoue and Yamazaki gave their lives for. I saw it with my own eyes. Both of them loved the Shinsengumi more than anything, and they trusted their commander! If either of them were witnessing what I am right now, it would crush them.
悲しむか。
At last, he seemed to let go of the tension, and his shoulders relaxed slightly as he looked into the distance.
残されたやつは先に行ったやつらの意志も継ぐべきだと思うか。
Well, I think so. I mean, I felt like I was doing so in that very moment. The reason I couldn't back down, even if Hijikata-san felt compelled to yell at me, was because I knew Inoue-san and Yamazaki-san would have done the same.
じゃあ、俺が死ぬまで荷物は増えるばかりじゃねえか。
Hijikata-san.
怒鳴っちまって悪かったな。確かにお前は分かってた。
His smile looked melancholic. I need water. I can't speak. It still tastes like strawberry tea. This is like the 5th refill or something. Jesus Christ. Strawberry tea is strong. His smile looked melancholic, and I felt a dull pain in my heart.
不利な状況で俺が焼けっぱちになるわけにはいかねえよな。大将が戻ってきた時、居場所がなくなってたんじゃ笑い話にもならね
え。I realized that Hijikata-san had finally regained his composure, and I responded in kind by calming down. Hijikata-san, I know I told you to stay strong, but at the same time, please don't push yourself too hard. I noticed you've been running around during both daytime and nighttime.
人のことを気にしてる余裕なんてあんのか。江戸を出た後、途中で倒れたら容赦なく置いていくからな。覚悟しとけ。
Boy! I was happy that I got through to him, even if it was just a courteous gesture. I ran right behind him, doing my best to keep up in the swiftness of his pace. Man is very tall. Chizuru is very short. Legs, major difference, so major differences in stride.
お疲れ様です。ご無事で何よりでした。
After leaving Okita, we had finally met up with Soma and Shimada, who were looking for us outside. Just then,
副長、ご相談があります。
shit. Soma looked frigid as he approached Hijikata-san nervously.
俺に局長と野村の除名嘆願をさせてください。幕府側も局長をこのまま死なせたくはないはずです。協力してくれる人もたくさんいると思います。ですからどうか。
Hijikata-san was staring down at Soma, whose head was bowed deeply out of respect, and he seemed to take Soma's suggestion into consideration.
言おうと思ってたことを先に言われちまったな。
副長、それでは。
島田、頼みがある。雪村を連れて先に江戸を出てくれ。
What?
俺たちは近藤さんの除名嘆願を続ける。お前の存在はもう足手まといにしかならない。
Hijikata-san had given me the same instructions earlier, albeit with a far more aggressive tone. But this time, I could sense that Hijikata-san came to this conclusion after thoughtful consideration. I was so worried about him, of course, but there was nothing more I can argue.
これは副長命令だ。俺もすぐに後を追うから、もうしばらく待ってろ。
I could see Shimada biting his tongue, almost like he was swallowing his displeasure.
わかりました、副長。
He nodded firmly, then Hijikata-san looked towards me. There was nothing I could do aside from follow the orders given to me. Understood. Hijikata-san and Soma turned around, heading towards the direction from which we were just running. It was so like Hijikata-san to bear the burdens of many under his command. However, as I watched him saunter into the distance, I couldn't help but feel like this was the last time we would see each other. Suddenly, my heart sank. Please be safe, Hijikata-san. Holding these tender wishes close to heart, Shimada and I escaped Edo together. We met up with the other shogunate troops sometime later in Ichikawa, and as remnants of the old feudal government, we decided to head to Nikko. Saito had been in Ichikawa for a while, but he left earlier for Aizu to oversee the Fury Corps. I worried about what would happen to Kondo-san. But perhaps because the situation seemed grim, none of us ever brought it up. Ooh, we get this one. Oh god. Hijikata-san took the first opportunity he could to begin visiting vessels to request urgent clemency for Kondo-san. He was busy day and night, hardly sleeping. In the end, though, the former vessels were wary of upsetting the Imperial Army, and they refused or outright ignored Hijikata-san's pleas. What made matters worse was Soma's own petition for clemency resulted in his arrest. Oh shit! On April 11th, the head of the Satsuma domain met with an ambassador from the shogunate. As a result of these negotiations, Edo Castle was surrendered to the Imperial Army. But the war was not over. We'd left Edo in advance of the negotiations to meet up with the Denshu Company. Someone's arrested, what the fuck? Hijikata-san returned from his other engagements as we joined with the... Hijikata-san returned from his other engagements as we joined with the Denshu Company, and together we headed north. Saito had taken the main body of the Shinsengumi ahead to Aizu in order to keep an eye on the Fury Corps. We left Ishikawa and set off down the Nikko route to Aizu. We finally managed to meet up with some allied soldiers, but many of them looked at us with a strange mixture of curiosity and fear. It was unpleasant.
あいつらが人斬り新選組か。
ああ、
気に入らなきゃ仲間さえ切り殺す狂犬の集まりって噂だ。目を合わせない方がいいぜ。どんな難癖つけられるか分かったもんじゃねえ。
It wasn't difficult to hear the gossip about us that had begun to travel the ranks.
口差がない連中ですね。黙らせてきましょうか。
やめておけ。言いたいやつには言わせときゃいい。
You sounded even more irritated than usual. Hijikata-san, are you alright? You don't look too well.
大したことはねえ。
You certainly didn't look it. His skin was a pale color, almost blue, and he looked as if he might collapse any moment. Marching during the day was hardly pleasant for a Fury. Kondo-san was clearly at the forefront of his mind. I had to admit, he did have good reason to be on edge.
あっと、あそこ通してくれる？悪いね。よっ、あっと。
Someone was moving towards us from the back of the column, pushing his way through the rest of the marching soldiers.
はじめまして。君が土方くんかい？君たち新選組の名前は僕たちの間でも随分鳴り響いているよ。
なんだあんたは。
ああ、自己紹介がまだだったね。僕は歩兵奉行の大鳥圭介。伝習隊の指揮を任されている。
Army Minister, an elected command position that presides over the Republic of Ezza's infantry force. So he's an infantry magistrate.
新選組の皆さんには今後いろいろと世話になると思う。よろしく頼むよ。
He gave a friendly laugh and extended his right hand. It was peculiar, though. For a man who claimed to command the infantry, he looked more like the son of a wealthy merchant than a soldier. Hijikata stared down in the hand as if it were a week-old fish. A week-old fish?
まあと、手袋を外すのを忘れていたな。
He hurriedly plucked the glove off his right hand and then thrust it toward Hijikata-san again.
なんだ金でも恵んでくれってのか。
シェイクハンドだよ。知らないのかい？欧米での挨拶のようなものだよ。
Hijikata-san snorted under his breath and turned away. Otori left his hand out for a few moments longer before pulling his glove back on silently.
大鳥さん、副長に何かお話があったんじゃないですか。
ああ、ぜひ新選組の副長から直々に今日での特に鳥羽伏見の話を聞かせてもらいたいと思ってね。
That's interesting, but why?
俺から聞くより尾ひれのついた噂でも追っかけた方が楽しいんじゃねえか。おしゃべりな連中が多いみてえだしな。
いや、これは申し訳ない。軍備は整えたんだが、軍機の方はまだ末端の兵にまで行き届いていなくて。とりあえずこの軍の編成について説明しよう。旧幕府軍脱走隊の約3000人が先鋒、中軍、後軍に分かれている。僕はその総督を任されているんだが。
総督？つまりあんたが総大将ってことか。
一応そういうことになるね。
Hijikata-san looked as if he just swallowed something rotten. Oh god. He only just lost his chief, and now Otori was trying to force himself into Kondo-san's place. No one, no matter how skilled, could replace his friend. Still, Otori seemed to have expected to be rebuffed, and continued, showing no sign of being put off by Hijikata-san's behavior.
先鋒は桑名藩会津藩を主体とした部隊、そして中軍は僕たち伝習隊を主体としている。後軍は旧幕府回転隊が中心だ。 僕はこの先鋒軍の参謀に土方君を推薦しようと思っている。どうですか？
Deputy Commander, a secondary position to a military troops commander. Hijikata-san served this role in the Denshu Company, as did Ito for the Shinsengumi.
どうして俺なんだ？
僕は実戦経験があまりないから優れた先達に従おうかと思ってね。それに新選組の土方君の名前は敵にも味方にも知らないものはない。先鋒軍にはうってつけの指揮官だ。
Otori's copious praise did nothing to thaw Hijikata-san. They just stared at one another for a few awkward moments. It was painfully obvious. Oh my god, the thaw's there. It was painfully obvious that the two of them didn't see eye to eye, and it could not have been a worse first impression.
では僕はこれで失礼するよ。詳しい作戦についてはまた後日話し合うことにしよう。
The conversation ended as one-sided as it had begun, and Otori disappeared into a swarm of marching soldiers.